What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from MTG Headquarters, and we're going to go over most of the removal that you're going to face during your Oath of the Gatewatch pre-release. Now, this is not the removal you're going to see from Battle for Zendikar. If you want to see an overview of that, watch my Battle for Zendikar primer video, where there's a section in the middle where I cover all of the removal. So first, we'll go through good intentions here. We have anything like loosely related to removal. So I thought the Eldrazi Displacer was interesting for 2 and a white, based on the fact that it can do 2 and a colorless to exile target creature, and then return it tapped. It's versatile. You could do some things with this. Obviously, getting through for attacks or triggering abilities, all sorts of stuff, but one of its modes could be used as removal. Then we have Immolating Glare, 1 in a white. Simple, destroy target attacking creature, easy peasy. Then we have Isolation Zone. We're very familiar with this mode of a card, 2 and 2 white. When Isolation Zone enters the battlefield, exile target creature or enchantment and opponent controls until Isolation Zone leaves the battlefield. Straightforward, similar to Stasis Snare in the previous set and many other cards. Oblivion Ring, things like that. Then we have Searing Light. Single white, destroy target attacking or blocking creature with power 2 or less. I think this is it could see a lot of play depending on what the meta looks like. It's at common, so you're probably going to see them. And instant speed. Immolating Glare and Searing Light, both at instant speed. So that is important to note. Then we'll go to Caliente. Here we have a ton. As we know, Caliente is a common place to find direct damage as well as some type of removals. And so we have Pyromancer's Assault, pretty straightforward. It's an enchantment, so it's definitely on the fringe. But whenever you cast your second spell each turn, Pyromancer's Assault deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Definitely worthwhile playing in Two-Headed Giant, and that's why it's on this list. Kozilek's Return. This will see standard play. It's so good. 2 and a red. Deals 2 damage to each creature. However, whenever you cast an Eldrazi creature spell with converted mana cost of 7 or greater, you can exile Kozilek's Return from your graveyard. If you do, it deals 5 damage to each creature. Super powerful. You could potentially wipe the board early and wipe the board late. Fall of the Titans, double X and a red, meaning you'll pay 2 mana for every 1 damage you want to do. If you're playing this in Two-Headed Giant, it's basically direct damage at instant speed. The closest thing I can think that we've gotten to, like Disintegrate or Fireball, in a while, especially being instant speed, but I could be missing something. Then we have Consuming Sinkhole. By the way, I don't think it's that great when you got to pay 2 mana for every 1 damage. The surge cost is much better, but maybe you're playing red-white and you could cast, the 1 mana removal spell and then follow up with this. So you could, it's powerful. The effect is powerful enough to try and get it for its surge cost, probably. Consuming Sinkhole. Here we have 3 in a red, and sorry if I sound so stuffy. I'm super sick, but I know I've got to get you guys ready for pre-release, so I'm trying to power through these videos. Consuming Sinkhole, 3 in a red. Choose 1. Exile target land creature, so if somebody has awakened the land, that's relevant. It also deals 4 damage to target player. So the 4 damage for 4 mana is pretty relevant at instant speed. The other mode, less relevant, but spot removal for Awakened Lands is pretty good. We have Devouring Flames for 2 in a red. An additional cost to cast Devouring Flames is return a land you control to its owner's hand. So you'll cast this before you play your land for the turn, hopefully. And deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, so relevant. Boulder Salvo, 4 mana and a red. We see this mechanic all the time, or this card similar to this. It kind of stinks. It's sorcery speed. It deals 4 damage to target creature. It's not even creature or player. Play this only if you're desperate for removal. For its surge cost, it's definitely more relevant. They heavily discounted its search cost for just 2 mana to deal 4 damage. So maybe. I think red-white Surge could be a thing in one-player games because you have a lot of cheap spells. But anyway, one head-to-head, I mean. Tears of Valakut, 1 in a red, cannot be countered, and it deals 5 damage to target creature with flying. So, good. Not great. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't main deck this. There's just not enough flyers to be that worried about, but sideboard tech will be good at your pre-release. Spark Mage's Gambit, 1 in a red, and it deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures cannot block this turn. So it might be more relevant to to make them block, give them unfavorable blocks. Dealing 2 1-power creatures, while very prevalent in battle, may not be as big of a deal in the sealed pool. Then we have Reality Hemorrhage, 1 in a red. Devoid, deals 2 damage to target creature or player. 2 mana for 2. It's at instant speed. It will probably see a variety of play, and I wouldn't mind playing this in your sealed pool. Then we move to the Darkness. Bear of Silence. This is a creature with some removal, 1 in a black. When you cast Bear of Silence, you may pay 1 and a colorless. If you do, opponent sacrifices a creature. That's the only reason it's on the list, but it's relevant because, especially in sealed, you're going to have plenty of waste, I believe, available to you. Then you have 1 in a black for Visions of Brutality. It's an enchantment. Enchanted creature can't block. And whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage, or deals damage, its controller loses that much life. So this is a very good removal spell, I believe. Flailing Tendrils, 1 and 2 black for -2/-2. Any creature that will die this way, all creatures, by the way, get -2/-2. So it's similar to Drown in Sorrow, but anything that dies gets exiled. Definitely relevant. You want to play this in like a control build, so you can keep people off your back early. Less good in some sort of red-black aggro Devoid build, certainly. Then we have Tar Snare, 2 and a black. Target creature gets -3/-2 till end of turn. That's instant speed. I would say this is pretty good removal. Instant speed always takes precedence over sorcery, in my opinion. Remorseless Punishment. Now, this one's interesting. 3 and 2 black. Target opponent loses 5 life unless that player discards 2 cards or sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Repeat this process once. So you're probably going to get some combination of 2 cards out of their hand, 2 creatures, 5 mana. I think you play this card, but certainly there'll be scenarios late game where they only have 2 creatures on board and they have 1 card in hand, and you'll wipe the board with it. I think it's good. There will be plenty of times where the board's late game, it's super long, super wide. They can sacrifice 2 meaningless creatures, and this card's a dud. So keep that in mind. Grasp of Darkness for double black. Very good. Very, very good. A target creature gets -4/-4 at instant speed. Great. Play every one of these you get. Then you have Oblivion Strike. 3 and a black. Now it's sorcery speed, which kind of stinks, but exile target creature. Still, non-conditional exiles, very good. You'll need this to get rid of Big Fat Eldrazi late game. Then we'll head out to the Eyelands. Here we have kind of some combination as blue doing what blue does well. Now I think blue-white specifically has a absolutely killer tempo package in the new sealed format. I think blue has a ton of tempo in and of itself, so maybe some blue-red prowess tempo stuff might be a thing in sealed. I'm not sure until I do some sample pools, which I'll be doing later this week. You have Containment Membrane for 2 and a Eyeland. Simple. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during next controller's untap step. And it also has a search discount for a single blue. We have Crush of Tentacles, sorcery speed mythic. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. If Crush of Tentacles search cost was paid, put an 8/8 blue octopus token. So, really late game, this is going to be an absolute blowout. You're going to want to wait for the surge cost, I believe, if you can. but this seems like an auto-include. Gift of Tusks. Now, this can be used either way, as until end of turn, target creature becomes loses all abilities and becomes a green elephant with base power 3/3. Now, you can use this to take down a big Eldrazi. You can do this as a combat trick for one of your creatures to get a favorable combat interaction. You can do a lot of things with Gift of Tusks, and I would probably play at least one copy of this if you open it. Grip of the Royal, 2 and a blue, with a search cost discounted to 1 and a blue. Tap target creature. It does not untap during its controller's next untap step, and draw a card. So not as good as like Frost Breath, but you're drawing a card, you're tapping something down. It's tempo, which is kind of blue removal. Then we have Roiling Waters, 5 and 2 blue. Return up to 2 target creatures your opponent control to their owner's hands. Target player draws 2 cards. So for 7 mana, you're bouncing to their creatures most likely, and you're drawing 2 cards, of course. Unless you're trying to mill them out and they're down, you've devoided them, you've ingested them down to 2 cards. But in every other scenario, you're drawing cards. So, I guess for 7 mana, I mean, they're just recasting it next turn. I mean, it buys you some time. It could get you through for combat. I think it's good, but it's super expensive, and you just don't know what the board's going to look like in turn 7. I probably heavily consider playing this card, and maybe I'm just misreading it altogether. Sweep Away, 2 and a blue. Very simple. Return target creature to its owner's hand. But what makes this card absolutely bonkers, in my opinion, is if you wait, and if that creature is attacking, you may put it on top of the owner's library instead. Huge blowout at common, I think. Excellent card, and it's going to frustrate a lot of people. And let's get into the trees. I think this is basically the only pseudo removal spell I found, and it's not that great. Support 2, meaning put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 targets. Then choose up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it deals damage equal to its power to that creature. So support 2 is like, you basically have a support 2, and then you have like not even a fight, because like if you have 2 creatures out, you can pump both of them up and then probably kill something off. So it's pretty good. For 5 mana, it would be better at instant speed. I think you probably play this if you play green at pre-release, but if you're in green, you just play your fatties and don't worry about removal. And then on to should have been called Void. There are no pure colorless like there is now currently. So these are the removal / tempo spells that you're going to see in the packs you open of Oath of the Gatewatch. And I think it's important to understand what you're going to see both played against you, and to have an idea, especially if you're building a tempo deck, which I think tempo is great for sealed. Like tempo fatties kind of is what I think I'm seeing, something that I want to aim for during pre-release, but it's all that matters is what you open. You can't really control that. So understanding the removal that you're going to face is definitely relevant in building your sealed deck here for the Oath of the Gatewatch pre-release, as well as any Oath of the Gatewatch sealed that you might do. I hope this video was helpful, and we'll talk to you again real soon. What's up, and thanks for watching this video. I produce all different kinds of content, so if you haven't yet, click on my face to subscribe. If you want to watch more videos, I've got some sweet playlists, including this one, where I open up every fat pack ever created. I've also got this one over here where I open just about anything vintage and old and expensive for your enjoyment. And all this is made possible by the awesome backers at our Patreon, which is linked in the description of every video. Hop on over there, check it out, see if it's something you might want to consider. If not, sit back, enjoy, and I'll still love you.